Thank you, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the July 28 Ordinary Council meeting for the Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley. Are we online? I guess we need to assume someone might tune in. Declare the meeting open at 5:02 p.m. and read the declaration. Members of the public are advised that recommendations to council contained within this agenda and decisions arising from the council meeting can be subject to alteration. Applicants and other interested parties should refrain from taking any action until such time as written advice is received confirming council's decision with respect to any particular issue. Members of the public, to please note that this meeting is being broadcast live and a video record will be made of these proceedings and published on the Shire's website. And again, declare the meeting open at 5:02. Move on to item 2 of the agenda, and that's announcements by the presiding member. I'd like to acknowledge that this afternoon we had the pleasure of welcoming 9 new Australian citizens at our citizenship ceremony. On behalf of Council, I would again congratulate each of our new citizens on this significant milestone and warmly welcome them as Australian citizens and valued members of the East Kimberley community. Since our last Ordinary Council meeting at the end of June, the CEO and myself attended the Kimberley Regional Group meeting where we met with our other Kimberley local governments to discuss regional priorities and opportunities for collaboration. We also were pleased to welcome Senator Glenn Stoyle, Senator Dorinda Cox, and our local MLA, Mr. Diana, who all attended Kununurra to participate in a forum focused on antisocial behaviour and discussions around that. The forum brought together key agencies and stakeholders from across our East Kimberley community to discuss the challenges facing the East Kimberley and opportunities to work collaboratively towards practical solutions. Also like to recognise the people in Wyndham and the organisers of the Brownwater Classic, which was held on a very, very windy weekend, unfortunately, but I hear a fantastic event and one of the major community events in Wyndham. So congratulations to everyone involved and everyone who participated. Turning to tonight's agenda, Council will be considering a range of important matters, including recommendations from the East Kimberley Regional Airport Committee meeting of a week or so ago, a minor review of our Strategic Community Plan 2023 to 2033, proposed amendments to airport and Shire fees and charges, the monthly financials, planning and community development matters, review of a directional signage policy and ongoing heavy vehicle access arrangements for Boab Metals. Later in the meeting, Council will also consider 3 confidential items relating to the routine and reactive air conditioning services contract, a request to write off debt for the Wyndham Community Club, and with councillors only and the CEO, an organisational structure review will be discussed after that. That's my announcements for the month. We move to item 2.2, delegates' reports from committees of councils. Any comments from the ECRA committee? I know we've got some recommendations we will address in due course. We'll move on to item 3, which is a record of attendance and apologies. We have no council apologies. We must have a full complement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 9 councillors.
The
CEO?
only apology is Director Paul Webb.
Yeah, Director Paul Webb, apology. Director Webb. And also in attendance, we have our CEO, Vernon Lawrence, Director Allen, and Director Bell. Welcome. No apologies except from Director Webb. No leave of absence. Attendances to be recorded in the minutes. Declarations of interest. I believe I have 4. Probably mine will be 5. At item 9.5.2, Councillor Deere, Boab haulage direct financial gain declared as his shareholder of BML shares. And item 5.4, Councillor Bond, regarding East Kimberley Regional Airport Digital Advertising Screens and Tourism Development Officer. Impartiality, Councillor Bond is a member of the East Kimberley Marketing Group. Councillor Robinson.
I'm going to grab one of those forms off you. Oh, can you run that through?
Councillor Robinson, also 5.4, Airport Screens Matter, Impartiality as a board member of the East Kimberley Marketing Group. Councillor Timms, Boab Haulage, item 9.5.2, is a direct financial as he's a shareholder of BML shares. And I was thinking I would have to as a CGL, but that's not related at all. I think we're clear on that. So those...
Oh, sorry, I was going to wait for the item, but can I declare that I'm also a shareholder of Five Metals? I overlooked that.
And we'll have Councillor Schaefer as well, who will fill in one of these at his earliest convenience. Thank you. Public question time at item 5. We have none submitted prior to the meeting and no one in the physical gallery anyway. Items 5.1 is response to previous questions. We have nil. 5.2, public question time. We have nil. We go to item 6, which is the confirmation of the minutes. Looking for a mover and a seconder if I could. Councillor Robinson moving, seconder Councillor Timms. Against, all in favour? 9-0. At item 7 as petitions, we have nil. 7.2 presentations, nil. 7.3 deputations, nil. We'll move on to item 8, as we've been doing, trying to streamline the methods of dealing with agenda business. I'd like to propose that the following matters be considered en bloc, which is item 9.11, the East Kimberley Regional Airport Committee meeting. Item 9.22, standing item use of the common seal. Item 9.32, list of accounts paid from the municipal and trust fund. 9.33 is the monthly financial report. 9.51 is the policy 4008 directional signage policy review. And 9.52, Boab Haulage concessional road access. Given we have some conflicts on that last item where they are financial, they can't vote. So should we remove that one?
Yep, absolutely.
I'm suggesting we remove that one. Are there any councillors that would like any other items removed or added? Probably removed is more important. Okay. Well, I'll take that the first 2, 4, 5 items. So I'd like to move at 8. Moved me that the first 2, 4, 5 items in that be moved en bloc. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Robinson. Against? All in favour? 9-0. So I'm sure my minute taker will remind me if I forget that one later in the meeting. We'll move to 9.2.1. Strategic Community Plan. This is a voting requirement of an absolute majority. At page, sorry, I don't have a page number of the agenda.
Page 8.
Page 8 of the agenda. 9.2.1. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Bond and Councillor Deere to second, against, all in favour. 9-0, clear majority. The next item is 9.2.3 on page 19. 9.2.3. Looking for a mover in the first instance. Thank you, Councillor Chafer. And seconder, Councillor Gordon. And against, hang on, what are we doing? We're voting. Carried. Well, good vote. All right. Yep. Anyone against? All in favour? 9-0. Thank you. Nine point 3.1 is again a change to fees and charges amendments. Voting requirement was the absolute majority. Looking for a mover and a seconder if I could. Thank you, Councillor Bond. And a seconder, Councillor Martin. Against, all in favour. 9-0. Thank you. 9.4.1 on page, I don't know, 34 of the agenda is change purpose for the Kununurra Race Club Community Grant. Looking for a mover and a seconder, Councillor Chafer. A seconder if I could, Councillor Gordon. Against, Councillor Robinson. Sorry? Yes, I'm against. Either or, yep. Councillor Chafer, have you the floor in favour?
I understand the reason that they've asked for a change in purpose is the original grant was for some electrical upgrades, but that's now going to be covered through funding from the Eclipse. And I do also appreciate that, so we're not going to get another request for them to under the original grant. I also appreciate how difficult it is for volunteers in those circumstances where you require a lot of volunteer hours just to keep the turf green and usable on race day. And I know they've had some awful experiences there before where they've tried to do it manually and they've done it too late on one occasion, and they absolutely soaked the track and had to cancel the races. And despite using a helicopter in an attempt to try and dry the track out, that was quite devastating for our community, having race day and not being able to go. And I just think it's a very, very worthy use of our funds, and I would have expected that if we didn't approve the grant or the change of purpose this time, we can expect to get a grant application from the race club in the future. So given that we've already got the money in the budget, I think it's a great alternative use, given that their original requirement has now been met through another program.
Thanks, Councillor Chafer. Would someone like to speak against? Councillor Robinson.
So I 100% agree with everything the Councillor Chafer said about the actual project. My concern is that through our grants awarding process, the officers, they qualify the applicant and they also quantify the application, and so that when they're put in, they are all ranked, and so that process has not been followed here. And I think that the interest of being fair and transparent throughout our community, I think all grant applications need to be treated as they come in, and they all need to be treated the same. And I just think that the money should be reinvested back into the 26-27 grant pool, and the club be invited to reapply into that round. That's why I'm voting against it.
Thanks, Councillor Robinson. I'm just thinking, is there a question there for the Director, Community Development? Could I ask for clarification about what's the opportunity to review that application, to achieve a score or to overcome the outlined issue. Director Allen, maybe, if that's possible.
They have supplied another updated application form.
Yeah.
So it's been assessed against the eligibility criteria, but it hasn't been ranked against the previous applicants, as Councillor Robinson has highlighted. It's possible, we've got them all on record, so we can go back and do that. So there is a possibility to do that. It hasn't been done before. So previously for when funding applications have come through for a change of purpose, it's just been considered by council, but it certainly could be done. That administrative process could take place.
Thank you, Director Allen. Someone else like to speak to the motion, for the recommendation?
Well, I'm just coming from the point of view of a volunteer. It's very heavy workload watering those grounds, and they're beautiful and they're an asset to the town. And I support the application on that basis.
Thank you. Again, someone like to speak against? Thanks, Councillor Deere.
Yeah, I think Councillor Robinson summed up pretty much some of the points that I had, that, you know, there is a transparent, robust and competitive process that, due to the specific detailing in our policy about this instance, we're going through this process when really we should probably just, you know, it is setting a precedent, whatever we decide here today. So, you know, I think that it should just be, it should just go back to the process and start from scratch and go into the next round, and then be assessed competitively against all the other clubs that are going to be putting in the next round. Again, don't disagree with everyone saying that there is a need for it and that there's going to be a benefit for the community, but really I think it's about that framework that we've created, which is to give weight to these projects and the decision making that we have, and I think we're bypassing that, so it really needs to go back to the next round.
Thanks, Councillor Deere. Someone else like to speak for the recommendation? Micro.
The council does not
Foreshadowing.
approve the request, and the amount of 9,100 be carried forward to the 26-27 grant program, and that the CEO invite the race club to reapply.
Thank you. Someone else like to speak for? Against? For the original at the moment, he's foreshadowed if this one doesn't get up, that that one might go up, will go up.
I just have a question about the process. Is that okay? If
Yeah,
goes,
clarification.
a clarification, please, Director Allen, is just if that goes back into the 2026 pool, the people that weren't successful in the current pool, is it assessed against them again, or are everyone's reapplying for 26-27?
Everyone would reapply for 26-27.
Thank you.
Just for council to note as well, is because the guidelines were silent in relation to repurposing of funding, we have made changes for the next funding round to those guidelines that specifically do state that any repurpose of grant funds would have to go back into would be returned back to the Shire and go back into the budget for reconsideration.
Thank you. Had a clarification. Would anyone like to speak against the recommendation? For? Tony, sum up.
Okay, look, no, look, I don't disagree that it's important that we follow process, but I wish I didn't have a head card and I remember specifically what it was, but I will remind councillors that not too recently we repurposed a grant for another community organisation. I just can't recall which one it was. Maybe Director Allen might remember that, but we did repurpose a grant not so long ago. Within this calendar year, I'm pretty sure. Maybe, yeah, we do. We've definitely done one because I had a few issues with it at the time. And look, this is a very unique situation where through the process, you know, the Shire has actually advised this organisation, actually, you don't need that because this is going to be covered under another program, which is, you know, the Eclipse program, and. You know, I don't disagree with the club that there's an opportunity, since they have the grant now, to put it to, I guess, what would have been the next project, next cab off the rank. So I'm still asking that councillors consider approving this positively. As Councillor Gordon said, it's a very, having community volunteers is a tough gig anyway. We've got, I think, Volunteers Day coming up in the not too distant future, in a week or two, and I just hate them to have to wait. If there's an opportunity to improve that club, it's a magnificent club, an asset to the community, and I know we've given them grants previously, but they certainly don't ask for as much as some of our other clubs out there, and I just think it's a very, very worthy cause. Yeah, so please consider it positively. I wish I could remember that other grant that we repurposed, but we have done one.
Can't remember it. Okay.
I believe it was
Director Allen.
the Water Ski Club. They had a coaching clinic booked in, but the providers and trainers from Perth cancelled, and they asked to repurpose that money for infrastructure upgrades from memory, but I can't be 100% sure on that. The other one was the Taste of the Kimberley, which was voted not to repurpose.
Repurpose. Okay. That's probably time for a vote, I think. CEO? Is that, certainly.
So the race club one was a bit different in that, unlike this one, the ski club was a
Choice.
out of our control, or out of their control. It's a different. It was a very different. Like, it wouldn't be this setting a precedent that we're now following. If I remember rightly, there's some very specific circumstances around that one.
Yes, there would have been. I can't recall them at the moment. I'd have to take that on notice and get back to council, but I don't recall what the exact reasoning was, other than it was a failure of the provider to be able to attend and deliver what they had promised.
All right, I think summed up. Vote. I think that's where we're at. CEO?
Yeah, Mr. President. So we've got a officer recommendation, and we have a foreshadowed a motion from Councillor Robinson. So the process would be is that if council votes in favour, the foreshadowed motion falls away. If council vote this officer recommendation down, then Councillor Robinson's foreshadowed motion will become live, and we'll have to vote on that one.
Everyone clear and comfortable? I'm going to call for a vote on the recommendation at 9.4.1. Those in favour? Against? 5.
Very cool.
I think, thank you, councillors. Names against would be myself, Councillor Bond, Councillor Kane, Councillor Deere, Councillor Robinson. Thank you, councillors, and I think we all agree that, yeah, I think we're sticking up for a principle and a process rather than anything else. So that takes us to the foreshadowed motion. Could I just get a reminder of what that motion looked like, Councillor Robinson?
That council does not approve the request. That council does not approve the request, and the amount of $9,100 be carried forward to the 26-27 grant program, and the CEO invite the race club to reapply.
Right, that
Or
is
thereabouts.
moved, Councillor Robinson. Do I have a seconder for that? Oh, hands everywhere. Councillor Deere. Councillor Deere. So moved, Councillor Robinson. Seconded, Councillor Deere. Thank you. Against? All in favour? 9-0. Thank you. Right, thanks, councillors, for that one. And I'll proceed slowly, minute taker. At item 9.4.2. Yep. Planning scheme amendment for lot 328 Mulligan's Lagoon Road. 942.
Clarification on that, please?
Thank you.
I note that in the text and in the recommendation, it refers going out for public comment, and I'm just want to confirm that that would involve specifically contacting the landholders around there, because I did share some concerns about the proximity of accommodation next to some of the existing and planned industrial activities out there, and whether or not there'd be not non-compliant uses or whatever whatever the word.
Yeah.
Or uses that can't work together.
Yeah.
There's a better word for that. Okay, so I've lost it.
Yeah, the official word for that.
Your non-compatible uses. That's the one
Non-compatible
I was
use.
looking for. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, as long as that can be confirmed, that would be great.
Director Allen, probably, I think.
Yes, so the holiday accommodation or the chalets are an A use, so they definitely need advertising as part of the development application. And the conditions within the temporary caravan park are discretionary use, the D use, which the Shire has the discretionary powers to whether or not that gets advertised. But because we would be probably looking at advertising the chalets, we would also do the caravan park.
And that's just a general advertisement. You don't specifically contact the neighbouring properties. It's up to them.
Neighbouring properties are contacted directly via letter usually.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for that, Councillor Chafer. Looking for a mover and a seconder, unless there are any other. Councillor Robinson moving. Seconder. Councillor Bond. Against. All in favour? 9-0. Thank you. And that will get us a long way, I think.
I think that gets us to
951 we did, didn't we? 952. So I've got declarations of interest. It is, I think they were financial, so we're probably asking Councillor Timms and Councillor Deere to leave the room. And Councillor Chafer. 9.5.2. TC, MD and ST leave. CRA. Financial. Oh, glad didn't buy any shoes. Okay, with that, remaining councillors, we have the recommendation in front of us, and I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Robinson, a seconder if I could. Councillor Martin, against. All in favour? 6-0. Thank you. And we could retrieve our councillors, please. Do I need to read for that? Oh, just read the result. I will. In there. 1, 2, 3. Thanks, councillors. In your absence, the vote on 952, the Bow of haulage, was passed 6-0. We will move on to items at 10. Applications for leave of absence. I haven't heard anyone. It's not too late. Nope. We're here for August, eh? We'll move to 11. Item motion for which previous notice has been given. We have nil. 12. Questions from members without notice. Nil. 13. Urgent business by decision of the meeting. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like I've lost my authority. It used to be me, but no. We move to item 14. I'm not sure which page of the agenda, which is matters which the meeting may be closed to the public. I'd like to move that we close the meeting to the public at 17:34. DM and Councillor Robinson against. All in favour? 9-0. Thank you, minute taker. Your official title, minute taker, in this meeting? Sure. Or would you prefer any other title? I can call you whatever you like. Minute taker will do. That one, and that one, and that one. Yep, we've got, oh, so 9-0, sorry, yes, 9-0. That's all we need to know there, isn't it? And 9-0, they're all 9 zeros. 9-0. Thank you all and welcome back to anyone online. We'll just go through the confidential section of the meeting, which has just been completed. At item 14.1, request for tender RFT 1525-26, provision of routine and reactive air conditioning services. The recommendation was voted 9-0 in favour that Council 1 accepts the tender submitted by Kimberley Cool Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Proprietary Limited, ABN 8380-838-60691 for RFT 1525-26, provision of routine and reactive air conditioning services as the most advantageous compliant tender in accordance with the submitted schedule of rates for an initial period of 3 years, with 2 possible 12-month extension options. 2, delegates the formation of the contract to the Chief Executive Officer, subject to any variations of a minor nature prior to entry into the contract. And 3, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to approve the 2 possible 12-month extension options following the expiry of the initial contract term, subject to satisfactory contract performance by Kimberley Cool Refrigeration Air Conditioning Proprietary Limited. That was item 14.1. 14.2 is the Wyndham Community Club request to write off debt. The recommendation was voted on and carried 9-0 that Council 1 decline the request from the Wyndham Community Club for write-off of the outstanding debt of $72,552.14 and request the club to provide to the Shire by the 30th of November 2026, A, an independent financial audit, B, a current constitution approved by the Department of Local Government, Industry Regulation and Safety, C, public liability insurance to the value of $20 million, and D, a business and strategic plan. And 2, receive a further report following the completion of the above actions to enable an informed decision on the request for write-off of outstanding debt. And 3, note the findings of the June 2026 structural and environmental health assessments, including the estimated $395,000 in building repair and renewal works. Minute taker, do I have to read the mover and seconder of those? I do. Sorry, I'll just find that. So item 14.2, the one just read out, was moved Councillor Bond, seconded Councillor Deere, and voted 9-0. The previous item, which was the tender contract for air conditioning, was moved Councillor Robinson, seconded Councillor Deere, and voted on 9-0. And the final item behind closed doors was item 14.3, organisational structure review. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded Councillor Chaver, and voted in favour 9-0. And the item was that Council 1 receives the confidential business case briefing provided by the Chief Executive Officer in respect to the Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley's organisational structure review 2026-2027, and note the contents thereof. 2, endorse option 3 in the attached organisation structure review 2026-2027 business case as the preferred option. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to implement the necessary changes in accordance with the Local Government Act of 1995, applicable industrial instruments, contractual obligations, and the Shire's organisational change processes as soon as practicable. And 4, notes that the organisational structure review of 2026-2027 will not require any changes to the annual budget for the 2026-2027 financial year. And 5, request the Chief Executive Officer to report back to Council following implementation of option 3 on the progress of the transition and the achievement of the organisational outcomes identified within the organisational structure review of 2026-2027. Thank you, and that concludes all the business carried out behind closed doors. And I would like to declare the meeting, the ordinary council meeting, closed at 17:51. And thank you all for your attention and attendance, and wish you all a good night. Thank you all.
Thanks.